the week is moving on. Things are getting more and more tumultuous. The storm is really beginning to rage, in my opinion. It just seems like the information is pouring forth, and people are having to face things that they didn't want to face. You and I, the conspiracy, so-called conspiracy theorists, have been dealing with this information for many years, but now it's all new. Hey, Benjamin, it's all new and to a lot of people, and people are dealing with it in their own way. I mean, humans are very good at adapting to difficult situations, in my opinion. And the news is coming out fast and furious. It just Bitcoin is going down now. They don't know if they can save it. Good riddance. The Epstein files are raging. All the information is out. Hey, Walter, Mommy Wolverine. Hey, how are you? All this stuff is coming out. Unbelievable amounts of information. I can barely keep up with it. They're talking about war in Iran. I think according to the last thing I just read, the Americans just walked away. The Iranians. I know how. I kind of get a sense of how certain types of people negotiate, and I'm sure the Iranians and the deep state they just kind of drag things out. Well, if you do this, but we really, and it's all trickery. It's all smoke and mirrors. So eventually, the United States is no longer a play toy. We're no longer bowing down to these criminals. So what happened here? Building a safe place like LA is the best investment. I don't know if that's true, but I mean, it is for me. And it's not that it's a safe place in that sense, but and here's my dilemma tonight, and maybe you guys can help me out here. I really feel like last night we hit on something. We hit on a very major point. And I've been ruminating on that all day. The point that we were making last night is that we are on the threshold. We are at the doorway between two worlds. Everyone, all of us. And in order to feel comfortable, you have to choose. Am I going to stay in the old world, or am I going to walk into a new me? So that thought is very powerful, and I'm trying to balance that out with the outpouring of news that's coming out. So I think tonight we will go back and forth between the two realms, because even the news, the news, the way the news comes to us, and the news that's exciting to us, which is about the Great Awakening, which is proving that we've been right all these years, that all these people who laughed at us are now going to be like, well, wait a minute, remember that crazy guy, who used to come to synagogue, and he moved to Arizona, maybe he wasn't so crazy, maybe he knew something. Duh. So the news is even the most exciting news, and it is exciting to us because everything that we've been talking about all these years is coming to pass. The Epstein files are coming out. That people are learning that. I just saw, was it Alex Jones? I think Alex Jones was saying that he could understand the Epstein files. No, it wasn't Alex Jones. It was Joe Rogan. I saw this clip from Joe Rogan. He was saying, I can understand the Epstein files and all this stuff, but really, do you really believe that George Bush was killing babies in satanic rituals? Isn't that like? I think that's what he was saying. Maybe I'm taking it out of context, but yeah, That's what it is. That's what we're talking about. We can't sugarcoat. You can't sugarcoat this. Eventually, you have to face the facts that that our world was designed by a bunch of sick ass pedophiles who eat babies, who do satanic rituals, who feel it's important to defile godliness as they define it by torturing and wounding and killing, eating children. Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about. It's not a conspiracy theory anymore. I mean, people laughed at me and they're like, "Elliot, isn't that a little over the top? You really think George Bush was eating babies?" I'm like, "Hell yeah. 100%. There's no question in my mind. All the research I've done, he was in Skull and Crossbones in Yale. These are satanic murderers. He was in the CIA. His father was in the CIA. These are pedophiles, murderers, child abusers, organ traffickers. I just saw an article about Harvard. They arrested all these people at Harvard that were all the big doctors and researchers were in a harvesting an organ harvesting scheme. But I'm not trying to convince anyone here that this is real. You've all done your own research and you've come to various shades of understanding the fact that okay, I'm just going to play a quick video to that's kind of really says what I'm saying in a better way.
How the fuck are we supposed to live in a world run by satanic, pedophilic, cannibalistic rapists? What am I supposed to do? What are we supposed to do? We can't just vote our way out of this, guys. It's clearly every single fucking one of them. We're surrounded by demons.
I think that's a brilliant little clip that really captures the essence of this dilemma. So we are we are both in the old world and we're about to go through the portal into the next realm. We're standing in between the worlds. In my opinion, you eventually you're going to feel more comfortable either going forward or backward. It's very difficult and very painful to sit in a kind of limbo in between worlds, and I've done it all my life. I've always been between worlds. I was on the student council and I had drug addict friends. I was all my life I've been oscillating between worlds, between realms. In the deer tribe they call it wave dancing. Maybe I'm putting myself on a high level because that's like their highest level of operation is a wave dancer, somebody who's comfortable in all worlds. But at some point, and at all points really, you have to choose. And that's what I was trying to express last night. And I don't know, I don't really understand why I don't have, well, I do understand. I'm being shadow banned, or else maybe I'm just missing something that you know I remember a few, maybe it was last year, 2 years ago. All of a sudden, I was looking at the numbers on my thing, and it went from like a couple of hundred to thousands. It just like, and that was because I was focusing on hardcore news, like titillating events that seem to be taking part in real time. That's I don't miss I wouldn't do that again because it's not my function. There are enough people who do that. But last night I hit on something, and I don't expect hundreds of thousands of people to understand this. But if I can get if you and I both understand this, the world will be a better place. And it's a nuanced kind of point. But in my analysis of my own situation, like, yes, I am in a beautiful situation. I'm building a house, it, whether it's safe or not. I mean, there are sophisticated bombers that fly right over our RV every day. If they wanted to take us out, I mean, is it safe here? I don't know. I mean, you know, we're not here because we feel it's going to be safe and the society is being torn apart. That's not why we're here. We're here, and this is the point here, what I'm trying to express. We're here because we were led here by what I would call like divine flow. The divine flow of our existence, of Daniela and I, was that we ended up taking a chance. We bought a piece of property. We never saw it. We never looked at it. We just said, we'll buy it. And we surrendered, with not consciously, but we unconsciously surrendered because we had no choice. Because we thought we were coming here, we were going to have tons of money. We thought my lawsuit against the Department of Education for firing me illegally was going to be one. I would have hundreds of thousands of dollars to build a house. Hire an architect for $50,000. Get a building crew up here for another couple of $100,000. Buy materials for 100, 200. That's what I thought I in the back of my mind, I was saying, I was feeling like that's where I was headed. It turns out I'm in a much better situation than that, because none of that happened. And without any money, I got to do I'm doing, what I really want to do. So what I was trying to express, and I'm going to get back to the idea of just this being between worlds, because that's the next step in this piece that seems to be flowing through me. That once you surrender to the divine flow, once you stop trying to figure it out, the doors just open up to you in ways that you get what you want, but in a completely different way than you expected. I expected to have to, I expected I was going to go Joe Architect, and he was from the Frank Lloyd Wright School, and he was going to come up and help me find the right place to build. And this other guy said we could get some drones up, and we'll map out your property and find out, and we'll have wells all over, every 50 acres we'll have another well on it, and we'll have we'll eventually. Now, this is where we probably really are headed. We will be developing some kind of teaching community, I believe, or it is building in that direction. But the idea that I'm trying to express is that you have a choice. It's not just, do I do the Matrix job, or do I quit my job and go live in nature with Ellie? It's not that. It's not exactly that. It's kind of like that. But what I've been trying to express, in my own clumsy way perhaps, is that once you surrender, and I learned this years ago when I first went into Alcoholics Anonymous, I went into Alcoholics Anonymous. I was a building contractor, a remodeling contractor in Long Island. I was in the red for 50 grand. I owed, which in those days was a lot of money. I owed every subcontractor. I mean, nobody paid me, and it went from bad to worse. And I went to AA and I started telling my sponsor about this, and he says, as soon as you surrender to God, it's all going to be set. It'll all work out. You think you're at the end of your rope. You think it's I'm going to have to jump off the cliff or run away or change my identity. I didn't know what to do. He said, once you start surrender to to a power greater than yourself, all the stuff will go away. I said, how can that be? He says, don't worry. Just don't worry. So I surrendered to a power greater than myself. The $50,000 in debt, which that today that would be probably about like $300,000 in debt. It just disappeared. It literally disappeared in a matter of like 2 weeks. This guy called me up. He says, let's make a deal. I can settle. I can do this. I got some money here. I lost my, it's just in a matter of weeks, the whole situation was done. I was a free man. And then I went to Nashville after a while. For a while, I just, went fishing. And then I eventually escaped to Nashville. The point is the surrendering part. That is not an easy thing to do. And I've had to refine it ever since. Even though I surrendered in that moment, and this appalling situation this pressure that I was under just went away. It's a constant back and forth. It's a constant struggle to surrender to the power. But in this current situation that we're in, when you understand, when you clearly see that the people who are creating, and they're creating this reality, the creators of this reality are a bunch of sick, narco, pedophilic terrorists that have nothing better, their purpose in life is to kill you in any way they can, poison you, steal your money, make your relationships impossible by destabilizing every aspect of society, taking your health, all these things. When you really understand, and now it's in your face. Like we saw that clip last night. If you were following the channel last night, we saw a clip where a nurse, a man who was a nurse, was telling us that the hospitals are gone. Without the fraud, they can't exist. The whole government is in a mode of collapse. You're seeing a movie playing out, but in actuality, the old world is collapsing around you, and it is in your face that these are not normal, nice people that they got a little carried away, they got greedy. No, we're talking about hardcore murderers that are running the world, and they want nothing better than to kill you, depopulate the world so they don't have to deal with you, so they can just take your money and do whatever they want. They can worship Satan, they can steal children, they won't have to worry about it getting in trouble anymore. Understand EBS. Yeah, I don't believe the EBS is, I don't believe in it. I don't think that's the answer to this situation. I don't see it, at least not for us, because we don't need an EBS. We already know what's going on. Maybe the normies, I don't think it's going to make a difference. I think that's just fake news, personally. I've said that many times. But here's the point that I want to stress. We are in between worlds. You and I have a choice to make. It's a constant choice. I chose to just to pack my bags, to put my silver in a suitcase, and get in some kind of vehicle and tow whatever I could tow with me and go west because I believed in the climate. I liked the fact that I could buy a lot of property for pretty cheap. I couldn't afford a house. So now I want to approach this in a slightly different way. I want to go to Psalm 23. Mizmor LaDavid, a song by David, by King David. Do we really understand who King David was? I don't. I don't. But I identify with him a little bit in that he was a songwriter. He liked to, you know, I but this Psalm 23, when I was a little boy, my father was called himself an agnostic. His parents, they were Jewish, but they were Christian Scientists, and he wanted nothing to do with religion. He saw his father basically refuse treatment and die. That's according to his understanding of it. But he once sat me down and he said, Psalm 23 says, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." Now, that is a mistranslation, in my opinion. Adonai Roi, the Lord. We're not talking about some guy. We're not talking about the Jewish carpenter. He's, you know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to those who are Christian. I'm not knocking Christianity. I'm just saying there are specific names for levels of divinity in the Jewish language. And the tetramagan, the four-letter name of God, does not refer to Elohim, does not refer to God in nature. It refers to God above nature. The number 26. That's what the Yud K Vav K. Um, the letters of the four-letter name. The gematria is 26, 2 times 13. 13 is echad, meaning one, unity. 2 times unity, consciousness and the being and the observer, duality. The translation, I'm not a Hebrew scholar. I didn't grow up with it. I did spend 25 years in the community, enough to at least know which books to trust, which books that really resonated with me. So there's a translation. I don't know if it's a standard translation, but the translation that we always hear is, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." That is a mistranslation. Adonai Roi, the Lord is my shepherd, lo echsar. That means I shall not lack. I shall not lack. The divine force has your back. The idea that I shall not want is the opposite of divinity, because wanting something is a very high level of spirituality. It's called ratzon in in the community. Ratzon is the second highest level of the soul, your desire. So it's not the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want, because wanting is a very holy thing to do. It's above nature, it's above rational understanding. You just want something, you don't know why. Like for me, the greatest example is I was 26 years old. I was finishing my second novel. I was hating graduate school. And suddenly I wanted to be a carpenter. You don't know why you want. I'm not talking about, the whole thing of sinning and you want something that's not appropriate. I don't even, that's just feh. I don't even want to deal with that. But the idea of that the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want is absolutely insanely non holy. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not lack. That makes sense. I shall not lack because God's got my back. But wanting is the holiest, it's the second holiest. It's the second holiest level of the soul is the level of desire. The holiest level of the soul is Tainug. What is Tainug? Pleasure. Pleasure, because when you're totally with God, not like you and God, it's like there's God, he's out there, and if I could only, contact him and have a communication with him. That's not Tainug. The real Tainug, the real pleasure is when you are examining perhaps a thought, when you are connecting to the divine, not as me over here, divine over there, and we're talking. Although it is that, it really is that. When you are absorbed in some kind of abstract idea, like me building a house is absolute tainuk. It's absolute pleasure. It's divine pleasure because I don't have an architect. I don't have a plan. I just go. I put in the next piece of wood, and it's like I go into a space of Tainug of a very high level, and I'm just like, well, what should I do? Tell me what to do. Let's figure this out together, and then I'll get a picture. It's like, oh, of course. Oh, why didn't I think of that? That's connection. That's being one with your higher self, your higher power, your intuitive knowing that's beyond the intellect, beyond simple intellect. So, where do we need to go if you're standing on the doorway between two worlds, which we all are? Because, like that guy in that little video, we know they're all in on it. This is a satanic realm. This is the Satanists are running or were running the world, but it's coming to an end. So where do I'm telling people you just got to do stuff. You got to trust your instincts, and this idea is coming into a little more clarity in terms of a way that I can express it, which is you just have to trust yourself and your connection to your higher self, your higher power. You have to walk through the gate. You have to leave the world behind. You have to leave who you think you are, who the people that you grew up with think you are, and how those facets of the jewel that is you and the different faces and and walk into your divine self. So, do I want to have 100,000 to 500,000, a million people listening to my every word? I would like that because I would feel like the world was in a good place. That not yes, it would be enjoyable to me to think that that many people were interested in my way of looking at things, or really it's our way of looking at things. And what I mean by our is not does not would not necessarily make sense even to me. But I understand that there is a collective consciousness that expresses itself in this situation. So lo echsar, I shall not lack, but I do want. And it's that want. It is that ember of wanting. It is that little spark inside your soul that says, you know, I like this life, but I really want to have a boat. I want to fix it up. This is what my parents said. I want to fix it up. Like I want to take a nice old boat and really make it nice. And I just want to go out on the sea. That's an unreasonable, that is, the Lord is my shepherd, and I want. The Lord is my shepherd. Forgive me, David Hamelech, but I'm saying the Lord is my shepherd, and I want. And the shepherd wants me to want. And the shepherd wants me to walk through that portal between the old dying world and the new world that radiates with endless possibilities of creation, of relationships, of discovery, of new science, new discoveries, new pathways. I'm building a house. I'm starting a garden. I'm starting to examine the the technology around finding precious metals. I'm enjoying my relationship with Daniela. We are learning how to we went to town, we went early and we resupplied and we came back and we forgot a bunch of stuff, but we were like, that was a successful supply run. And now we're trying to get from going down to town twice a week to getting down once a week. Because I'm unable to pull off getting a mailbox up here for whatever reason. I'm sure when I really want a mailbox, I will manifest a mailbox, but I don't have one. So I have a mailbox in town. But the Lord is my shepherd, and I shall want. I shall want things that I don't have. And it's not just money. I mean, in the creepazoid parasitic Satanist world, we all want to have money because you can't operate. It's hard, or let's say it's more. It would appear to be more challenging to operate, but in actuality, for us, we do just fine. We're not always happy about it. I mean, I wish I had, I wish I didn't have to go into town and go, how much money do we have left now? We just bought this, and this, and now we only have, $100 left. And I got some cash. So now we only have $50 left. I wish I'd go into town and say, I want to try that and that and that. And I want to drive that vehicle up here. And it's just like we don't want to be limited like that. But if you are limited like that, which we all are right now, it's okay because the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not lack. Yeah, they took my Jeep, but you know what? I'm okay without my Jeep. I'm fine. Daniela would like to ride in the Jeep because it's a lot. You feel a lot safer in the Jeep. You feel the roads up here are. If you were to come up here, those of you who are not like hardcore, old time country boys, like the guys who were up, like my neighbor drove me on my own property when I first got here, and I was like, slow down, man. I mean, what do you know? I mean, I was just like, I was totally blown away. He's like, don't worry, man. I've been doing this for years. It's like no problem. And now it's really no problem for me. But the first time I drove on these roads, I was just like, are we gonna come back? Are we coming back? Am I gonna get to, am I gonna end up in the hospital tonight? I mean, I don't know how I got off on that one, but the thing here is it's so simple that it's hard, but we're coming to a transitionary point in our collective evolving, where we have to let go of who we thought we are and boldly go where we've never gone before, which is to just trust that Adonai Roi Lo Echsar. Lo Echsar. I shall not lack. Right? I shall not lack. But I shall want. I want to want. So if you follow your wants, and I'm not saying like you should become a drug addict and chase beautiful women or anything. Those are not the kind of wants I'm talking about. But if those are your wants, they probably need to be examined in some way. Just saying, I don't hold with this, you're that's just sinning, no, it's these are things that we all need to examine about ourselves. It's not anyway, that's a separate subject. But Adam was just fine. He was completely one with God. And then they ate from the tree of knowledge and everything went wild. Okay, enough with that. Enough with that. Just hear me out. And this is, we are between worlds right now. You don't, I'm not pushing you to make a choice. I'm not pushing you through the doorway. But expect for things to be not the way they were in any shape or form. That you're walking into we as a collective are walking into a new reality where there will be freedom, where there will be peace, where we shall not lack, where we will be able to govern ourselves in ways that make sense. We won't be afraid of the man all the time because we will be the man. I saw this thing about a town in Maine where I think I mentioned this last night, where they decided they were saying, screw you to the big government. They're like, we're going to have raw dairy if we want it. We're going to trade with each other. We're going to eat the foods that we grow and we're going to sell it to each other. Like I was in my my post office and the spouse of the owner is a baker and he makes all these beautiful baked goods. We don't eat it because it's not organic. Organic. It's not like it's not. He uses sugar. God forbid. I mean, we don't. But for normal people, it's beautiful. There's no real bakery here like this. He makes the most beautiful things, and these assholes of the government had the fucking chutzpah to come into their place and say you can't be selling this, and then they got in trouble because they didn't mention on the ingredients that that there were eggs in it or something. I mean, they made a mistake. Whatever. I mean, it's just like we do not need to live in a nanny state. We do not need a government to tell you you can't sell cookies in your own store because you don't have a license. That's just utter, complete, tyrannical bullshit. We're leaving that world. It will never be like that again. So, what I am telling you is not that you should rush the doorway and break on through to the other side. That will happen whether you want it to or not. If you are able to get out of your own way by getting out of the fear space, by not catering to the demon of doubt and just doing what your instincts tell you. I want to bake cookies for the world. That's my thing, man. Well, you can't do that. It's not reasonable. It's not that's the Satan. Your initial instinct was, I really want to be a baker. That's what you need to do. That's your want. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall want. I shall not lack, but I shall want. Because wanting is healthy. Wanting is good. It's not shameful. It's not egotism. That's what your soul desires to do, so you want to do it. It may come in waves. It may come as like me, like songwriting. I wanted to produce and write my own songs since I was 15 years old. That's what I wanted to be when I grew up. If I ever grow up, which I don't feel I have, but I wanted to, and then in my 60s, in my late 60s, suddenly I'm producing a couple of my tunes. So I'm not saying quit your job today and just. Although that you all understand that that's where this is going. There's no way you're going to have the same job in a couple of weeks. Everything is crumbling. The old fraudulent system is crumbling around us. Like that guy said yesterday, the hospitals are firing people. They don't have any money anymore because all the fraud, all the schemes, all the scams have now been ended. They've ended. So people are scrambling. Elon says it too. He says, you're going to have a very nice guaranteed income, very handsome. The problem that people are going to face is, what do I do with my time? And if we are still in this bread and circus moment where it's like, I got my Netflix show and I got, and I eat my I have these special foods that I enjoy and I drink beer. And I mean, I don't, I saw a thing that said alcohol is not good for you spiritually, even though it's called spirits, and it's not good for me spiritually. The majority can be powerful, but build a mailbox and put it out the road. Yeah, you can't do that. They will close you down. I mean, no, I would almost say that, but the mailman will not. First of all, I don't have an address. There's no address. You can't. I admire you. You're right, but there's also a small society within this ranch. This is an old ranch that I live on, and the mailman won't know what it is. But love from Australia. The whole world is changing. Yeah, that is the key. That the whole world is changing in a good way. So I'm not saying that you should just quit your job, although you will be quitting your job. Your job won't exist soon. Everything that you do that isn't high quality, that doesn't have a spiritual meaning, will soon be gone, like Bitcoin. Bitcoin is now coming to an end because it's a scam. It was created by Jeffrey Epstein so they could traffic children and launder money, and nobody would know. It wasn't to do freedom and all this other nonsense. That's what XRP is about. And soon, in my opinion, the coin will flip. and things of real value. They're even saying copper is going to have tremendous value in the future, and silver, of course. They're saying in Switzerland they don't have any more silver. They're out. So silver is going to go way up. And we as a people are going to we the way we've been manipulated by money because we don't have any. We think that if we have enough money we'll be able to do whatever we want. It's like that already. You don't really you can really the Lord is your shepherd. You um the force the force will protect you. Danielle and I, we stayed in these seedy hotels when we first got here. We cooked it. We bought a $20 barbecue at Walmart, and we were barbecuing the only steaks we could find that weren't injected. We found at the same place that we go to now. We found a place right away to buy meat. So if you are confused right now, if you are between worlds, if nothing makes sense to you, I would say that's a good place to be in. That's where you're supposed to be right now. You are between worlds. The new world hasn't really coalesced yet around you, hasn't crystallized yet, but it is in a state. It is in the process of coming to be. They're going to have real elections. I think the government is we're coming into Jassara law. That we won't have the old government won't exist. You can't fix it. It was a corporate system that's based on debt, slavery, and depopulation, and the creeps are going. More agape from Australia. Thank you. Yeah, I mean the Australians, man, really had it bad. You know why they had it bad? Because you had it bad because they had all their dumbs underneath Australia. They were all going to go to Australia after they killed us off with the vaccine holocaust. This was a big plan that Trump, as horrific as it is, how many people had to die through this experience, or maimed, or vaccine injured. He saved us from the camps, from utter annihilation of the human species. You can't fix stupid, right? um the minority can be most powerful. Salt and light. Yeah, that makes sense, Richard. See, orange, it depends on the Bible you read. Hey, Casey. It depends. Yeah, I'm an Old Testament dude, man. I don't know. I don't do Jesus. I don't. It's not my thing. I identify with being Jewish. I was Orthodox Jew for 25 years. There's no there's no mention of Jewish in any Orthodox circles. In fact, it's a difficult thing. It's not a pleasant thing. It's like, why do they want us to worship, you know anyway, I don't, I want to go there, but I'm an Old Testament dude. I mean, I never had any formal religious training as a boy. My father was agnostic. My mother is believes in God but does not identify with any religion. She'll go to any kind of religious ceremony. She doesn't really care. She's kind of like me. I used to bow down to idols in Hindu temples. I mean, I had a guru. Yeah, I've been through a lot of different changes, but I really at a certain point when I was an ultra lib, I was walking barefoot in the woods all the time. I was out there in that respect. I was smoking a lot. I was walking barefoot in the woods. I'm still walking barefoot in the woods, but in those days, um, yeah, I've experimented with a lot of different, but at some point in that exploration, I reached a kind of a fork in the road where I realized that continuing down the sort of liberal, do what you like path was not getting me the results that I had expected. So I chose to become an Orthodox religious Yid. And I spent 25 years in the Hasidic community in New York. And I learned all kinds of cool stuff. And I had a child, and I lived a very wonderful religious life. But when COVID came, I was like, I can't stay with these people. They're in the middle of yet another Holocaust, and they don't even know it. And I don't want to associate. And it just they the thing that I came there to gain, I already got it. I got my diploma, and I moved on. So yeah, I'm an Old Testament dude. I don't do New Testament. Um, and I don't really do Old Testament either anymore. It doesn't resonate with me the way it used to. It's a beautiful way to live. It's lovely to live by the Torah, to spend all your time learning. It's a beautiful thing. I believe in action. I believe in doing stuff. I believe in chasing your wants, in chasing your desires, however strange they seem. Like for me to become a carpenter at 26 was just like totally it was not something I ever thought would. My father was always asking me to help him around the house, and I'd be like, Dad, I'm too important to do that kind of thing. I can't help you. And then all of a sudden I was like, and now, and that's my joy. That was my joy. That is the idea of I shall want. I wanted to become a carpenter, and now my greatest joy is sitting here building something without an architect, without an owner telling me, that is that board really 100% level? It looks a little crooked to me. I don't have that. It's me and Danielle. If Danielle says I don't like that board, I'll take it out, and we'll do it some other way. But we do amazing things together in our own weird way. I mean, if you saw us in action, you'd be like, I don't know how those guys get anything done. Yeah, it's a bumbling process, but that's what I'm saying is that once you get into your own flow, once you understand and respect yourself and realize how important you truly are, as much as I spend all this time doing research and I'm very entertained by it, and I have all these clips. I think I'm going to play one thing. I'm going to share one thing by Zachary Fisher, who I've been following, just followed him recently. But I like what he does. See if I can find it. Not that one. Not that one. I think it might be here. Let me try this. Not this. Yeah, they just broke off on talks with Tehran. Okay, let me go. I'll do this a different way. Well, let's go up and just see. Don't let your ego get in the way of the mission. The fight isn't about us, it's about the kids and our kids' future. Anons never joined the fight for likes, followers, money, or recognition. Okay, so we all know that. That's breaking. Binance liquidating millions of crypto right now. They are nonstop dumping Bitcoin. Okay, so that's happening. We are not falling. We are standing on the edge of who we've been. Is that? Yeah, that's that. Okay, so let me just show you this. Humanity is at the edge right now, not heading there, not someday, right now. You can feel it in your body, in your patience, in how thin everything feels. The system do, the systems don't make sense anymore. The stories don't hold, and people are exhausted pretending they do. This didn't happen by accident. We were taken this far because we because nothing less would break the spell. We didn't just disagree, we split. We picked sides, hardened identities, stopped seeing each other as human. Once it goes that far, there's no fixing it with conversation or reforms. Something big has to happen, something that hits everyone, something that makes the separation impossible to maintain. That's where we are. A collective breaking isn't the future. It's the moment the lie finally collapses. When the ground gives way under everyone at once, you realize real fast that there is no over there. What happens to one of us happened to all of us, period. Unity isn't a spiritual concept anymore. It's becoming practical, necessary, survival level. We are being pushed into the same reality so we can remember we're one body trying to survive its own forgetting. The world we want isn't waiting for us. It doesn't exist yet. It has to be built together after the old way finally lets go. The precipice isn't the end, it's the moment pretending stops. Okay, that's just. Can you imagine how these Bitcoin maxis must feel when they're looking for a centralized system to bail out an alleged decentralized Bitcoin? Okay, Ariel has a little bit of bitterness. FBI reports admits a vault of 10,000 Epstein blackmail videos was found in Mexico. Really? BlackRock says bonds are no longer a safe hedge. Duh. Breaking: Middle East on the brink. Iran threatens mass missile strikes. Normie's trying to figure out how the stupid conspiracy theorists keep predicting the future. All right. Anyway, I don't you can see how easily I get absorbed by the news. So I'm telling you, don't pay it no mind. But you can see how I am totally absorbed in this collective transformation of reality. I've always been interested in this. Ever since I was sitting on the barber's chair at 8 years old saying, I want a Beatles haircut. And the barber said, that you mean you don't want a haircut. You're just going to let your hair grow. That's that, in 1963, that's how the Beatles looked. Now the Beatles look very like a very conservative. And they were probably satanic or to some degree or whatever. We don't know. We're on the cusp of a new reality. We're at the precipice. A dear friend of mine, we were shocked. We were shocked by a dear friend of mine today said he was going to close down his business. Just out of, and this is something I never in 1,000 years would have thought. Baby, what? Can you just give me a glass of water? Just drink it. Thirsty. He now, why did he close down his business? He closed down his business because he didn't really want to spend time. Even though it was a good business, he was making some money. He wasn't making a lot of money, but he was doing very well, and it was growing in a beautiful way. He was like, I don't want to do this anymore. It's not me. I want to do something else. I want to make money another way so I can have more time to do the things I really love to do. And I think we will all be at that point very soon where we'll say, do I really want to spend time clocking into this job anymore? Do I really want to sit in this house and watch or whatever it is? I don't know what a lot of people on this channel live alternative lives already. So I'm in a way I'm preaching to the choir, but the rest of humanity is going to be looking to you to asking, like, what should we do next? What do we do now? So let me take a moment just to pay my respects to my mentor and sponsor in a way. You just to Doctor. I just want to play a quick Dr. Stacy flick. 2 minutes. Let's see, where is this here? Yeah. Okay.
Thing and what needs to be, addressed to get to the root of the problem instead of just band-aid, 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 which nothing ever gets fixed, right? Of course, we didn't use medicines or anything like that, but it's really important to know that everything is connected. And so when you look at X39, yes, it's going to impact the cardiovascular system, but it's going to impact every single area of your life, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, because it is a quantum tool that is working at the root of the issue, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, whatever it is. Your body is smart and it knows how to heal itself. And this just turns on that body's ability to do that again. And the other supportive patches do the exact same thing. They just do it by going through different pathways, different peptides. So they're targeting different areas or different mechanisms inside of the body. So let's look at everything and what needs to be,
So that was just Dr. Stacy. Let me just put on the contact information. Let's see if I can find it easily. Yeah, yeah. Here we go. So you could sign up under Daniela. You could call Dr. Stacy and say you want to sign up under Daniela. That's not a problem by us. It's probably the fastest and easiest way to get the thing done. You can call us. You can call Daniela if you want. You can call us. We'd love to talk to you. We're not the best at signing people up. We're learning more. We're getting better at it. But we really appreciate the people who have invested in this healing technology. We use it. We do like 4 patches a day, and we find it transformative. We find our lives to be amazing. We enjoy ourselves very very much up here. We build together, we grow together, we sometimes we get in each other's way. We live in a little tiny place and sometimes we bump into each other and it gets annoying, but we're we're committed to, even when we have a little difficult, like we have a couple of words, that we hug each other soon after and we just say, I love you, I'm sorry, I was just hungry. We fast a lot, so sometimes sometimes I get a little testy because I just haven't I don't eat until the afternoon sometimes. And like today we went to town without eating, and we were expecting to eat in a certain way and it just didn't work out. But the Lord is my shepherd, and I shall want. I should want. That's healthy. It's not egotistic. It's like, what do you really want to do? And you do it. You just do it. It doesn't mean you have to quit your job today. It means you get online and you like start looking around. What do I need in order to accomplish that? Everything is online now. So you can figure out pretty much everything. I like to put seeds in the ground. I like to plant trees. I like to look at rocks. I like to look at the sunset. I like to build things. And that's what I'm doing. I like to cook, and I cook. Danielle and I, we take turns. We cook different things. We eat pretty much the same thing every day. Sometimes we get a little variety. Sometimes we get a keto carnivore cookie, which is a huge treat for us. A piece of chocolate is a big deal for us. A nice cup of coffee is the world. But we're getting stuff done, man. And at the end of the day, we're at the precipice. We're in between worlds. We're standing right at the doorway of the portal into the future reality. And like Zachary Fisher says, it isn't there yet. It isn't created, but you are the one who is going to create it by your wants, by following your heart's desire, by saying, I've always wanted to, like some people are like, I want to sit by the ocean. I just want to hear the waves all the time. I did that. I did that for like 2 years. My spirit told me, just go to the ocean. Just go to the ocean. And I did. I spent 2 years by the ocean. And then after 2 years, I was like, okay, now let's go somewhere else. You don't have to know the whole plan. You just have to know what you want in the moment, and you go for what you want, and that will lead you from step to step to step. So it's a beautiful time to be alive. It's a beautiful time to open your eyes no matter what your age is. It doesn't matter if you're 70. It doesn't matter. You can, these patches, I maintain that they'll keep you young. So we're learning how to sign people up, that you really need to sign up as a brand partner and get a real package of X39.
And it can't be under the starter enrollment.
It can't be under the what?
The starter enrollment.
It can't be under the starter enrollment pack. You have to jump into it. Just like you have to jump into through your portals. Am I selling something? Absolutely. Do I feel bad about it? Not really, because it's such a great technology. There's no side effects. There's no like, well, people, 3 people died, but it's better than ibuprofen. Tylenol is destructive, is designed to hurt you. Maybe it kills your pain, but it also kills everything else. Am I allowed to say that on YouTube? Who the hell knows? Who cares? I don't care anymore. I got thrown. I lost so many channels every time I mention the vax, whatever. But that's just the dark side. We have to keep fighting the dark side. We're not giving up. This is not the end of reality. This is the beginning of a new adventure into a totally different world. So we're leaving slavery. We're leaving slave mentality. This is a real thing. We're leaving debt slavery. We're leaving a life where you're always behind the 8 ball and you never have enough and you can never catch up. And, like for me, it was like, if I can just make it till Friday and I can have a glass of wine, I might be able to I can do this. And then on Sunday, I'll wake up with a hangover and I'll deal with Sunday and then I'll do it all over again. I did that for years and years and years. And then I'm just like, I'm not doing this anymore. I want to live my life. So we're at the portal. Is it going to be confusing? Yes. Is there anyone you can turn to who's really going to understand what you're talking about? Maybe, maybe you're lucky enough to have somebody in your life that understands what the hell you're talking about. But most people, they're still grappling. They still haven't figured out that the world is run by a bunch of sick pedophiles who are stealing millions of kids every year. And making you feel like there's something wrong with you, that you can't get it together because you just, your credit score really sucks. Like, like I should care that my credit score, I mean, whatever. Anyway, it's all good. So let me, the sword, the will of God will, the sword of God will divide. Let me just go to the nearest post. Never give up, right? Be humble. Yeah, you could be humble. I live in the mountains 55 years and love them very much. That's beautiful. Yeah, I love Kentucky, man. Kentucky is awesome. I got lost a few times driving around in Kentucky, and it was the best getting lost ever because the hills are so dreamlike. It's different out here because it's everything. You can see everything. You see for miles and miles. I could see for at least 20 miles. I could see way out in the distance. But in Kentucky, everything is kind of like hills, and it's like you're in a dreamscape. it's just it's unbelievable. It's wonderful. I raise old mountains, pleasure horses not most of my life. I love it. Yeah, the people in nature. So there are a lot of people in nature and are doing it, and there are a lot of people that want to do it. But want is a good thing. Want is a very high level of soul expression. The only one greater is pleasure. So the pleasure of doing what you really came here to do, be it raising horses or building something or raising dogs. I don't know. Planting trees, growing. We want to grow multicolored carrots now. That's our big desire. We love these multicolored carrots, and I love radishes, and we're going to start growing soon. We got our garden just about set. We planted the trees. I went out and bought a bunch of like fill, like organic fill for to fill in the spaces between the trees so we can plant stuff, and it's rock and roll time. We're going to start where Danielle and I tomorrow we're going to start working on the second floor of our house, which I didn't even think of putting on a second floor when I started building this. I was just like, I don't know. We didn't know what to do because we quickly found out we didn't have the resources to hire anyone or get a concrete man to come up here. Not that they would come up here anyway, because it's pretty steep up here. But we've been getting stuff done, man, and now we're going to be framing out the second floor. And I think once we frame it, we'll put a nice floor down and move on to the next thing. Get our water system going, and it's just step by step. Beautiful, beautiful manifestation of divine flow. All right, so let me play the tune, and let's head for the promised land, man. I mean, we got this. Oh, what did I do? Okay, let's go back to safety. Okay, that didn't work out. Let's get through that. Okay, let me try. So I'm gonna do New Morning, because I know if I try to get back to the other song, but this is a song of freedom. Okay, let's go for it. Waking up on the front porch, Sunday at dawn. The night was hotter than hell and forever long. I can see the first light breaking through the trees. I feel the changes in the cool breeze of freedom. And it's a new morning. It's a new morning. We never saw it coming, hiding in plain sight. Banksters taking power, stealing our lives. They were looking to bury us in debt, shame and fear. But our roots grew stronger as we reached into the air with freedom. And it's a new morning. It's a new with each day we're rising up in this world with the power of love, with the power of peace, the power of joy. power of truth, and the power of freedom. And it's a new morning. It's a new morning. It's a new morning. It's a new morning. Well, thanks for coming tonight, and the news is absolutely amazing. I mean, don't mean to discount what's going on in the world. It's very exciting that it's happening. The exposure is there. I just feel that you are special, and you just give yourself permission to move through the portal, break on through to the other side, and don't look back. Don't be like Lot's wife and turn into a pillar of salt. Just keep going no matter what. It's going to be amazing. May the force be with you. May you realize that you are force itself. There's no separation. May you respect and honor the things you really want out of life. If you're like me and you want to live in nature, just do it, man. Just go for it. Just start researching, start asking, start talking about it. And before you know it, you'll be there. That's the nature of reality, that nothing can stand in the way of man's will, of man's wants. May source be with you. May you realize you are a creative power. You are Neo. You are the one. Nothing can stop you. No, you are unstoppable. You are the only one in the history of reality that can be you. Nobody else can do your job. So let's get out there with a big smile on our face and